Yeah, I'm different. I am complicated, but it's what makes me me and what allows me to train every day and work so hard and never miss a session and have that bug for table tennis.
Hello everybody and welcome back to Serving Up Trouble. This is the podcast about everything women's table tennis and I'm your host Chloe Island. My week in table tennis this week, I've actually been watching more table tennis than I've been playing. I've been watching a lot of the US Smash on World Table Tennis, WTT. You can catch up on those games on their YouTube channel. I just watched the absolute belter of a match between Hannah Goda and Sun Ying-xie, and what I really kind of was looking at was the placement of their forehand and how often they went into the body and down the line, and there were some really good down the line spins that kind of threw off the pace, caught people out. It's a shorter stroke, you've got less room, and I've just been trying to implement that a little bit into my practices, trying to practice going down the line with that forehand spin, with that forehand attack more often. I think it seems like the easiest stroke to go across the court, but I've been trying to go down that line. It's a little bit like what Colin Wilson was saying in his tip of the week a couple of episodes ago, so check that one out. That's a good tip from Colin. My guest this week, this episode has been a long time in the making and I'm so excited for you guys to be able to listen to it. That's because my guest is Lancashire's very own Fliss Pickard. Fliss is a GB para player. She's in the Class 6 singles and Class 14 doubles. She got a bronze medal at the 2023 European Championships in the singles and doubles with her partner Grace Williams, who we previously had on the podcast, and those two claimed gold together in one of their most amazing wins at the 2022 World Championships in Spain. Fliss made her Paralympic debut last year, coming away with a much-deserved bronze medal in the doubles with her partner, Bly Toomey. One of the reasons I was so excited for this episode is that I've known Fliss a long time. We used to practice together at Garstang. Emily Bolton used to go to that club as well. We had the Dillon sisters. It was a really good cohort at that time. And although I've known Fliss for a long time, I don't think I've really known Fliss. We never really got that much time to hang out off the table. I never really knew much about her story, how she found table tennis, about her journey into the GB squad and some of the challenges that she faced along the way. I want to say a big thank you to Fliss for giving us the time and for being our penultimate interview on Serving Up Trouble. She gave an incredible interview. She was really open and vulnerable, but also just so positive and so driven. She's tenacious. You know, I think that if I had to use a word to describe Fliss, it would be tenacious. Like, once she gets her teeth into something, that's it. And she's so determined to reach her goals, to become the best. Here's my interview with Fliss Pickard. Hello everybody and welcome back to Serving Up Trouble. So this is a podcast about everything women's table tennis, and today I'm here with a Paralympic bronze medal winner, Fliss Pickard.
Hello, Chloe.
Hiya.
Nice to be here.
How are you?
Yeah, I'm all good. Been a busy week, table tennis, like it always is, but yeah.
Yeah, so you've actually just come from a training day, actually.
Yeah.
Can you tell us a little bit about what you were working on this morning?
It's been a mad one this week because we've been joined with the Table Tennis England squad preparing for the European Youth Championships. So it's been a really good atmosphere, lots of players involved, and yeah, tough, and they're too quick for me, making me run down too much, but yeah, just what I wanted on a Friday morning. But yeah. So
going back to the very beginning, because I've known you for quite a long time actually, because we used to play at Garstang together. I used to see you in the, we didn't train that much together, but I used to see you practicing at Garstang Club, and I used to have a knock with you every now and then. Yeah. So actually, how did you find table tennis? How did that become the sport for you?
Growing up, I was always really competitive. I tried every sport, but sort of really either didn't fit in the classification or I couldn't get any further really with my disability, and then I'd sort of given up really. But I started volunteering like with special needs children and stuff, and And I was again volunteering, working at Hammer Sports Centre in Accrington. And it was there that one of the staff members said, "Oh, do you fancy a game of table tennis on the break?" And I said, well, I can't really hit a ball. Got no hand-eye coordination whatsoever. Don't think it'd be a good idea, but why not? And it was just there that the just by chance the regional officer at the time for Table Tennis England was just there practicing, and he said, "I don't think you'll want to, being like a 15, 16-year-old girl, really, but if you want to, I've just started a local session on a Friday night, if you fancy joining." And then from playing once a week, within a month I was playing every day.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow, so the bug bit you hard.
Yeah.
So I mean, it's crazy that you say that you didn't think you had any hand-eye coordination, because you are so quick. You're so close to the table. Like, you hit that ball so quick off the bounce. So how did you kind of discover your playing style? Because you said you started around, I mean, it feels like you started actually quite late for table tennis at around 15.
Yeah.
So was there a particular coach that kind of helped you figure out the best way for you to play? Or did that something that kind of came naturally just through trying?
Well, obviously I was very limited to the style choices that I could play, to be honest, with my movement. But I owe a great deal to Mick Moyer, who, like I said, was the regional coach at the time, and he must have spent hours and hours and hours with me. At one point I was seeing him more than my parents, friends, family.
Wow.
Every day he spent hours with me, through the highs, through all the lows, he was the main influence, I'd say, to the style that I play today.
So you have cerebral palsy.
Yeah.
Can you explain, for people that don't know what that is, what is cerebral palsy? How does it affect your day-to-day life?
Yeah, so cerebral palsy is probably one of the most common disabilities, but saying that, everyone is so different. It's such a huge scale. For me, it affects all four limbs, which, again, I didn't know until I started playing table tennis.
Right.
I thought I was just like left-sided, it's like brain damage, but it turns out a lot of stuff I can't do in table tennis is due to having it in my right side as well. So I've got it in all four limbs. It'll be more obvious in my left side. I play with a crutch to help with the balance, but in my right arm I struggle with fine motor skills. And all like intricate little movements. Like as a child I struggled like cutting things and like anything that required small little fiddly detail things. Like if you give me a piece of Lego, that's complete waste of time.
Difficult, and yet you chose to play probably one of the fiddliest sports out there, one of the most detail-orientated fiddly sports. Yeah.
I'm stupid, but here we go, still playing.
But saying that, I mean, you've had an incredible journey, I think, in your professional playing career, kind of from where you started to playing at the Paralympics, and I know it's not been the easiest journey for you either. So when you first kind of started, you were playing a lot as a young person, as a teenager. At what point did you think, I could maybe take this further? I want to take this further. Like, when did that journey begin?
So obviously the bug hit quite hard, quite fast, and I was thrown at the deep end, really, to be honest, because someone at the last minute, at the time there was the school games, and one of the disabled standing players from one of the regions had pulled out, and Mick said, "Do you want to play?" And I was like, "I've only been playing 2.5 weeks."
Oh my God.
I hadn't got a bat. I was like, but why not? Yeah. And then he said, "You'll need to do quite a bit over the summer," but I was already bitten with the bug, so I was doing quite a bit, but I didn't know what I was walking into, really. Turned up, the only female standing player there, and I got absolutely battered.
I bet.
I think the most I got in one set was 2 points.
Wow.
But that really motivated me to. Most people think, this is not for me, but for me, I was like, you know what? I want to beat these people.
You got the competitive spirit, like in that moment. That's amazing. I mean, it's amazing that you had the the courage to do that, having only played for a couple of weeks. Like, would you say you're quite a confident person? Do you throw yourself into those kind of situations, or was that a special circumstance?
Confident is not the word I'd use to describe myself whatsoever. Now looking back, I don't know how I managed it. I think the first person I met in table tennis was Jack Hunter-Spivey, and he was like, "Who is this girl? And she doesn't speak." Now we're like really good friends, train together every day. But yeah, I'm definitely not confident, and my journey's been a mad, crazy one.
Yeah.
I think the first time I went to Sheffield, I think it took me maybe 12 months to say hello to someone. So wow. I'm definitely not confident.
Yeah, I mean, you kind of touched on it before, but being the only girl at times, I mean, now, we've got some new players coming through. We've got Bly, who you played with doubles in, and, we've got Grace, who trains with you, and she was started in Wales and things like that. But for a moment, it was you. Yeah. So can you talk a little bit about when you first started? I'm guessing you had to spar with a lot of the guys a lot of the time. And also your classification is different. Yeah. Some of the guys. So how is it that you train in those circumstances? What mindset do you have to go into the hall where you know that you're not necessarily going to be playing people in your class, and you're also not going to be playing people that are the same gender? So the game's going to be different.
Yeah, I mean, I still go in the training hall every day now, whether it's with the Table Tennis England camps or just those para guys, whether I'm with the pathway guys, and I go, you know what, it's table tennis. If you take table tennis as a whole, I'm the worst player in this room, and it's difficult at times because I feel like I'm battling against a brick wall at times, but I think it's maybe who I am today, and I think that starts from being at Hyndburn Sports Centre, because the mentality was always, there was a couple of junior sessions that I could go to, but if I wanted to play more, it was just like turning up. And at the time it was, if people knew you and knew you were a good player, then they'd practice with you. If you weren't, then you'd just be left on the sides and you'd be waiting. And sometimes I'd be waiting, I'd go for 6:30, and then I'd be waiting till maybe 8 o'clock for someone to actually say, come on, I'll give you 5 minutes. And then if they gave you 5 minutes and you were no good, then not interested. So I had to prove myself, I had to work my way up, and I had a lot of, for me it was a great deal of support from the local players around me and a great deal of banter, but it's always been a case of I'm just Fliss, you're not disabled, and you've got to get on with it. If you're good enough, we'll play with you. If you're not, then so be it. But I think a lot of people would have struggled in that environment, especially I was the only female at the club. But for me, I think that's made me who I am today.
You've been an incredibly resilient person, I think, over the years. And I mean, how would you say your outlook on the game has changed from that time to now? Because I mean, it's like you said, it has made you who you are. You are an incredibly resilient person. You've kept going throughout all of this time, and also achieved some amazing things, like on the world stage, as well as domestically and European and world, and playing with Grace in the doubles. I mean, she told us a bit about that story before, but I'm going to ask you about it as well. But I mean, how has that changed for you over time, and being able to achieve some of the things that you've been able to achieve?
I mean, for me, I'm still on an everyday battle. I'm changing from day to day. I mean, it's only from having a huge success in May that I've really opened up a bit more, and I've really become more open and more comfortable and enjoying my table tennis. But so I'm evolving all the time, and I can be proud of when I actually look back, I'm my worst critic, and I can say I can always do better, and this should have been better, and this should have been better. But at the end, if I do look back, I've achieved a lot from what you would have thought. No, Fliss is never gonna. She hasn't got that mentality. She can't cope with these situations. She can't do it. But no, I've proved myself wrong, and I'm still playing and still battling every day.
I mean, it's like, I see you play Women's British League and you play like able-bodied players as well. Like I saw you at Nottingham 4-star at the weekend, and you get these games in, and you also get games at these tournaments as well. Like you're a competitor. You're playing in band 2. It's not like you're going for no reason. But when you are in these tough spots, when you don't feel like anything's going right, when you are up against, stronger players and you're finding it difficult, how do you manage to come back the next day? Like, what do you tell yourself? How do you keep this journey going?
Trust me, it's been very, very difficult at times. But until I've achieved what I want to achieve, until I've achieved that, and that's to be the best in the world champion, European champion, Paralympic champion, then I always feel like there's something more. No matter how hard it's been, I've got to take one step forward and another step forward and stick to the process. And I believe that, I'm going to earn this position. I deserve to be in the position that I'm in, and hopefully one day, there's no guarantees on anything, but I know I couldn't have given it any more. And when I know I can't give any more, then that's the day I'll put down my bat and say,
You've tried your best.
Done.
Yeah. But you've got so much of your career ahead of you still. And I think, you didn't qualify for Tokyo or for Rio, but you did qualify for Paris.
Yeah.
So can you talk us a little bit about what that process was like, and also how you felt walking into that hall for the first time going to the Paralympics?
For me, Tokyo was heartbreaking. Played the qualification tournament and come through lockdown, and I felt like I'd grown so much as a person, not just as an athlete. And everyone, not just myself, I think thought it was just going to be a nightmare with the lockdown. And it really, I really evolved through that process. And I was playing the best table tennis of my life at the time. And then it was the semi-final qualification tournament to go to Tokyo. And I was playing a girl that I'd never seen before. She'd never played a tournament before. And it was deuce in the fifth. And I was 11-10 up, and she served, and the umpire was like, match over. She started devastating. It looked like she served off. My coach was about to get on his feet and be like, oh my God, we're one match away. This is great, because it'd been a tough battle in deuce in the fifth. And I said, no, that serve had touched. Nobody else had seen it, and I saw it. And I said, I can't go to the Paralympics cheating. So that ball touched. And he was like, you sure? And I was like, yeah, it touched. And then I ended up losing that match 15-13 in the fifth. So it was a tough one to take. And I sat with my coach, and he was like, this will make you so strong. Like, you've got years ahead of you. This is the making of you. This. And I was like, no, I just can't. I need to go home. I don't think I'll play anymore. I've given it everything. And it was a really difficult one. But then, luckily, we got a pathway coach during that summer. So they were all preparing for Tokyo, which was really difficult. I had some time at home, reflected, had a look back at things. And then when they went, we had this pathway coach who's now in the performance team, Matthias. And he was doing like a camp for the future players. And they said, you can go if you want, but we've got no expectations for you to go, because we know it's going to be a tough time. You just have a break away from table tennis. And I said, no, I'm going to join. And I turned up the first day, and they were like, he was like, what's your name? He knew nothing about me.
Right.
And people were like, well, that's disgusting. Like, you've achieved this. You should know that you're in. And he looked at me and he was like, you could be very good. Like, he knew. And I was like, and then I had a boy, Theo Bishop, who's one of my teammates who I've grown up with.
Yeah.
Known him since we were 10. He was saying, Fliss, you need to just tell him like who you are. And I was like, no, because I want him to know nothing about me and just to get to know me for me. No prejudgments, no nothing. And I spent 8 weeks with him doing 2 sessions every day. We came to Heimann to do a camp because we couldn't get the EIS, and he really put a different take on things and really gave me that positivity back and the love for the game. And it was a great experience. It was a tough one, but it was a great experience for me. And then that's when I got the bit between my teeth. I was like, you know what, I can't fail. This can't happen again. And I played 3 tournaments between the Paralympics and the new season. And there were obviously no performance players. They were all resting after the Paralympics. So I went with Matthias, and I won 3 back-to-back gold medals. Wow. And I was like, yeah, this is it now. This is the making of me, and this is what I needed. And yeah, it's been tough since then, and there's been plenty of ups and downs, but I really feel like having that positivity and having someone that didn't know anything about me really helps.
It's like starting from ground zero again, isn't it? It's almost like because you got to that point, you had that, I mean, heartbreaking with Tokyo, but then actually maybe you needed that refresh. It was almost like hitting the restart button, starting from the beginning, no preconceptions. Whatever happened before, that's in the past now, and we're going to start from the bottom and work our way back up. Yeah,
he was no like, oh, you're class 6, you should be playing like this, or you should be moving like this. It was just like, I felt like I was back at Heimburn with the people that know Fliss for Fliss, and it was like, no, you are going to learn to move like this. Just move. If you fall over, you fall over. You learn to fall over. And there was no like, oh no, you're class 6, don't do this, don't do that. It was just, you do whatever you can. And there was no like, I didn't feel like I was being judged, and I felt like I could have fun again.
Yeah,
like,
which is a massive part
really
of the game.
Enjoy it. Really enjoy it. And I even went back to Heimburn. He came to Heimburn to do a camp. Me and Theo encouraged him to come, and he walked in on me and Theo just like setting everything up and just having a bit of fun before the session. He was like, oh my God, I've never seen you move like this. Why do you move like this at Heimburn? And he was like, there's something in this. Like, I said, I'm not moving any different. He said, you are. He took a video of me. He said, you're jumping around. You need to move like this all the time. I said, maybe because I'm just happy and relaxed. This is my safe space. He was like, this is what we need. And then he showed me the video. I was like, I can do this. He was like, if you make mistakes, I don't care. Like, just be Fliss.
Yeah. And then obviously that's paid off. Tell me a little bit about playing doubles, because you've had some great successes playing doubles, both with Grace and also with Bly.
Yeah.
How do you approach doubles? What is it about doubles that you enjoy, that you find that you can get your game in? How do you work with a partner to...
When I was first told doubles was introduced, I'm not going to lie, I thought, this is my worst nightmare. This is my absolute worst nightmare.
Really? Wow.
Because I struggle to manage myself, never mind having to
have another person.
And they were like, Fliss, come on, you'll be good at it. And I was like, yeah, but I can't move the right, I can't communicate under pressure. I'm just going to end up getting stressed. And a team sport was no good for me, because like, I'm very like tunnel vision, and I was like, this isn't going to work. It was like, Fliss, you need to take this on. This is going to make you stronger. And I've had 2 very different characters with Grace and Bly, very different. It's been challenging.
I'm sure.
But I can't believe some of the results that we've both had as pairs together, because I really can't move in doubles. But for some reason I feel, and there's something in this, I don't know how it's happened, but when I play doubles, all the stress, I don't feel the stress, I don't feel the nerves the same, because I feel like I have to take responsibility for the other person. So if I'm stressed, then it's not going to help them, and I take on like a leadership role.
Right.
I don't like boss, or with Grace, she's better if you tell her, just do this, just do that. That's what she wanted. With Bly, it's a bit more like, we have a bit more fun. We don't put too much pressure on it. We play off instinct. That's how we play best. But like, again, like, I couldn't believe it got to Paralympic Games, first match. We were first match on at the Paralympic Games, me and Bly. And I'm expecting Bly to be buzzing, and I'm expecting her to be like flying about as she does, a scooter everywhere, and shouting and screaming. And a couple of days out before the Games, she just went silent. And anyone that knows Bly knows she isn't quiet. And it was scaring me, and I was like, it was like, yeah, she can get nervous as well. I was like, well, I knew this, but I just don't expect, she's like a kid to me. She just takes everything on board, and I didn't know what to do. And then we went out for the first match and she was physically shaking. I was like, how exciting is this? This is mad. And she's like, no. And I've never seen this side of her. And it was like all put on top. And I was like, I don't know what. And I just went, you know what, Blair, we're going to have some fun. We're going to be us. And we were joking about before the match, and I tried, like, don't even speak about table tennis.
Yeah.
And I was just trying to get her on the court. And I think Andrew, who was in our corner, was going, I don't quite understand, because he expected me to be the one that's like going all silent and having to try and bring me out, but it was Blair. And for me that was a real turning point, because then I had the belief that everyone struggles. It's not just me. Of course, and we have different ways of dealing with things. And actually, you know what, on the biggest stage of them all, as awful as I might be feeling, I managed to get us both on that stage playing table tennis and enjoying ourselves. And I was like, you know what, I can take confidence from this, because no matter how horrible it feels, there's not just me in this situation, and I've got to do a job for a teammate, a friend, a doubles partner.
Yeah.
And then we got that medal, and just to share that moment with young Bly, like, was just incredible, because I feel like we've both been on totally different journeys, but to come together and do it together was incredible.
Yeah, I mean, it must be quite strange actually watching Bly coming through, because like I said, it has been kind of you on your own for a while, and now we've got a new young person kind of coming through. Do you feel like, I mean, maybe this is a difficult question, but do you feel like some of the mistakes that have been made with you in the past, not getting the knocks, not getting the time on the table, do you feel like that maybe has helped the system to become better over time? Do you see things improving for like the next generation, the Bly's kind of coming through that system?
I think definitely the programme has improved massively in the last couple of years, and since Andrew's become head coach, Andrew Rushton, especially in the new cycle after Paris, we've had huge changes over the last few months, and I think it's been difficult for some people, because it's seemed quite a big change, and a lot of staff members changing, and the whole dynamic around training and the culture's changing. But I think now we're really like seeing the rewards for that change, and I've never felt more part of like a family than it is now, and everyone's getting along. And I think if we can carry on in that way, then the mistakes that were probably made before in terms of bringing people in a bit too young, not just young but not quite ready for high performance, and like I think there's a lot more understanding around that.
I think it's difficult to know what to do, especially when you are the only, I think it must have been a learning curve for them as well as yourself, kind of coming through in the sport. How are you going to play? How are you going to operate in this high performance world? So that as you've kind of got to know yourself through this process, they've also got to know you.
Yeah.
But I have to think that them through that process, I think you have paved the way for new players coming through, because you've had to go through so much, and now that you are a bit of a mentor person, to Bly and to the other people coming through. I mean, it must be difficult still, all the time. But I feel like you have, you've kind of paved the way, I think, for some players in a way. I hope you see that. Well, I hope you feel that.
Well, people often say that, and I just like, no, I'm just me. I just do what I do. But if I feel like I'm always there for everyone, and I'll always offer people support. So if I can do a little bit for any of the guys coming through, then I'm always happy to help. I mean, I can't often help with footwork or anything like that, but actually with manage things is, I think I've got a bit of knowledge on that.
I mean, talk about your game as well, because like you said, you are limited in what your game can be, and you've had to like practice in that way. I mean, you played with pimps on your racket as well. Has it been a bit of a learning curve in? Did you start with pimps? I can't remember if you started with pimps. So how did that develop on the table?
Well, actually, like, it was at a point where I was like, do I carry on? Do I not carry on? And then, because I'd had a bit of difficulty. I'd been in the squad and then taken out the squad because I got a Asperger's diagnosis and couldn't cope, and mentally it was very, very difficult for the system and myself, and there was a lot of learning to be done. But I carried on, and I started working with Andrew Rushton at Holton Table Tennis Club. As he got a part-time, as he started taking the job on at Sheffield, he was still working at Holton. So he really helped me and was like, no, we can do this together and you will get there. You work too hard not to. So I carried on, and then I went, I didn't have a clue. I got a random text off one of my teammates saying, congratulations. I was like, what for? It's like, oh, have you not been told? No, but this usually happens in these situations, so no. I'm going to Sheffield next week. Oh, I'm sure you'll find out next week. Wow, what's going on? And then I got a wild card for the World Championships.
Yeah.
So I was not expecting it. So this is when I was like, do I carry on? What do I do?
Yeah.
And then I worked with Andrew Rushton and somehow went from, I can't do this anymore, I don't think I can't manage. I'd never beat any of the girls that I played in the group, and I played one of them 20 times, and I was like, I just can't, the styles just clashed, and it was in my head, and the performance director sat me down and said, you need to be starting to beat players like this, around this sort of ranking. And I did it as it worked. The schedule was happened to be, I played the 1-on-1 first day and then had a day off, and on that day off I was a nightmare. I was saying I can't play anymore because I had to win the second match to go to whoever won the second match went through, and this was the girl that I'd played 20-30 times, never beat.
Yeah.
And Andrew didn't, I couldn't play, I literally couldn't hold her back that day, and he was like, wow, I don't know how we're going to get you on court. But I managed to get on court, and I managed to get through that 3-2. And then I went to play another girl that I've played now, must be a couple of 100 times. And I won that and ended up getting a medal at the World Championships, which was just incredible. But then coming back, I lost in the semi-final, and then coming back, me being me, said, no, it's still not good enough. I need something different to make this game awkward, to slow the game down a bit, to give some creativity. And we had a 2-week break, and I walked back in after a 2-week break. Everyone expected me to be buzzing. This is incredible. And I was going, no, you're going to have to sort this out because I've now got pimples. So I've now not got a backhand.
So a big learning curve then.
Yeah.
Big learning curve.
And everyone was like, you've just played the best table tennis of your life, had the best result of your life. Why the hell would you change your bat?
Yeah.
I'm like, well, because I need to. You've just got the best. No, I need a new bat. If you want me to get them, what I did 2 weeks ago is not good enough now. I need to be better. And that's just always been my mentality. And yeah, they're probably screaming at me and going, well, you're mad. But that's just another Fliss Pickard moment. And then from that day, I've changed from short pimples to medium pimples.
Yeah.
And then Paris was not the experience I imagined in the singles.
Yeah.
So I came back from there and I was like, no, you know what? I need to play what every other girl in my class plays with, long. Really? So after Paris, I got some more pimples. That lasted 2 weeks. I was like, this is the boringest game in my life.
You were like, nah, that's not for me.
Yeah, no.
So you've gone back now. What are you with now?
Medium.
Medium. Back to the medium.
Back to my original. I tried changing blades, rubbers, you name it. I'm back to my original.
Yeah.
Matthias spoke to me and said, you cannot change this bat now for 20 years. I said, okay.
That's it, you've done enough. You've had all of your changes now. This is the one.
Yeah.
A short break now for our tip of the week. And our tip this week comes from a Paralympic bronze medalist and a Commonwealth Games gold medalist. It is, of course, Jack Hunter-Spivey from the GB Para Squad. Here is Jack's tip.
Hello, my name's Jack Hunter-Spivey, part of the Great Britain Para Table Tennis team, and here is your tip for this week. When you're doing exercises and training, make sure to vary the spin all the time. Try and give your opponent some float balls, some heavy balls, and learn about position as much as you can when doing exercises, because variety is the key.
Thank you very much, Jack. A great tip. And now back to the interview. This is a little bit of like a left field question, but after the Paris Paralympics, there were lots of stories about how inaccessible Paris was for the athletes. And I just wanted to ask what your experience being in the city was. Was that your experience, or how did you find it? Like using the metro and all of that kind of stuff?
I mean, we didn't get out much. But the one time I did manage to get out. Me and a teammate, Paul Carrick, both on electric scooters, mobility scooters, decided, just us two, to go into Paris to see the Eiffel Tower. Well, we got a taxi to the venue, and they then just left us by a set of steps. That we couldn't get down.
To levitate down them.
And then but just by chance, I have no idea how, our physio had also gone out for the day, and she was just coming back, and she just got dropped off, and she was like, "What are you two doing?" Like, what are you doing? She's like, "Fran, you've saved our lives. Please, can you carry these down?" Because the scooters are like, 35 kg?
Yeah, they're heavy, aren't they?
Yeah. And we was like, "You need to carry these down the steps, Fran." And she was like, "What were you going to do with this?" I don't know. And then we had a great experience at the Eiffel Tower. We then came out, decided, we'll get some food. So Paul said, "Well, I don't know where I'm going." Paul said, "I know, I think it's this way." So we went up this hill, and I said, "Are you sure, Paul? Because all I can see up this hill is a set of steps." He went, "Yeah, well, the restaurants are in that square." I said, "Yeah, but there's steps to that square." He said, No, there'll be a ramp." We must have gone for about 10 minutes up this hill like this.
Yeah.
Paul couldn't get his scooter up, so he had to push it. I'm waiting at the top. I got to the top and just said, "Yeah, Paul, we're not going anywhere."
No.
Take the scooter back down.
I mean, how does that kind of, does it affect how you operate at events internationally and things like that? You know, how good is the accessibility? I mean, imagine for para events, you'd like to think that the accessibility is good, but you know, could it be better?
It could be a lot better. Luckily for us, we tend to fly in, get a bus to the venue or hotel, and there'll either be transport from the hotel to the venue, or it'll be walking distance. And we see a sports hall, we leave a sports hall, we see a hotel room, leave the hotel room, getting a flight back. So we don't really see much of the... But I know a lot of the wheelchair users have had issues, like they've got there and they've run out of disabled rooms.
Yeah.
There's only one disabled toilet in the whole venue, so that's caused...
Oh God, that's a bit of a... Yeah, that's a big one, really, isn't it, for a para event?
Yeah.
It's like there's one loo. It's like, oh God. Yeah. It's like queuing for the women's loos normally is bad enough, and there's usually a few of them.
Yeah.
Right, okay, wow. So that's a bit of a doozy to try and navigate.
Yeah.
What would you say is your favourite event that you've ever taken part in? Regardless of the result, what was the best event that you've played in?
For me, it's got to be Belgium Open 2015, because I'd been competing for a couple of years, really struggled with the high performance environment, and then that's when I got the diagnosis. I came away for a bit, wasn't sure whether they'd allow me back in. Sean, then Marples, gave me the green light and said, "Look, you can go to this tournament, but I won't be coaching you," because he was the pathway manager at the time. Mm-hmm. And he was like, "We'll put you with Neil Robertson, who's an absolute legend," but he didn't know a great deal about me.
Yeah.
So I must have been playing 4 years, never won a match, struggled to win a set, and they were like, why do they keep funding you? Then I'd had this break. They weren't sure if I'd come back. Had Neil Robertson in my corner, and first match on, she was the world number 3 at the time. And And I was like, oh, this is just a great stuff. This is just what I wanted.
And this is exactly the kind of draw I wanted to see in the morning.
And Neil Robinson stuck with me, gave me confidence, kept me calm. And I felt like I had to do something here. I probably didn't, but I put a great deal of pressure on myself. And I won that match. It was just unbelievable. I then went on to win the tournament.
Wow.
And they were like, this is crazy. How did you... But no one else was shocked because they were like, yeah, we knew, Fliss, as soon as you'd win one match...
You'd get it.
You'd get it.
It would click.
You had to win that one match. And for me to come back after people didn't know whether I'd play again, whether I'd be able to manage. So to be able to come back and win that match and then win the gold medal was, incredible.
Yeah. You mentioned just before about this diagnosis that you got of Asperger's.
Yeah.
It seems like it was quite a big turning point for you in your career and also in your life. Can you tell us a little bit about how you see having Asperger's now, today, and how you've managed to adapt since having that diagnosis, how it's changed your view of yourself?
Yeah, looking back now, I don't know how I managed to get that far through life without a teacher or something pulling up on it, because I really struggled at school, especially secondary school. Didn't have many friends, hated it, to be honest. My parents just thought they were bad parents because of my behaviour. They just thought I was a nightmare, and they made this happen, and just to get that diagnosis was like a relief, I think, more so for them than me. And then it made me see how different I am, which I really struggled with at first, but now, I am different, I am complicated, but it's what makes me me, and what allows me to turn up to training every day and work so hard and never miss a session and have that bug for table tennis and that obsession. So there is days where it's very, very difficult, but the way I see it is like I struggle with certain things because of my Asperger's, but other people have other issues with, and I can use, when it's going well, then I feel it's a massive advantage for me. When it's not, then it's a challenge, but everyone has challenges, and
this is yours, I guess. Like everyone's got challenges, and this is yours, and you've kind of adapted to it, or like learned to see it in a certain way, which I think is...
I've always said, like, I'd take my cerebral palsy 10 times over.
Really? Oh wow, why?
Because with cerebral palsy, I think you know what you've got, and that's that. With Asperger's, like day to day, different things can trigger you. I don't know what to expect, what's around the corner. But now I'm learning it's okay to be me. I definitely found a strength in having Asperger's. I mean, I'm probably a pain to everyone else, but
the best kind of pain. The best kind of pain, for sure. We've only got 10 minutes before we wrap up. So I'm going to ask you a little bit now about the women and girls side, which I guess is difficult because, again, like there aren't as many women in the para squad, and also not in your class as well. You were saying that you come across the same players a lot at these competitions. So how do you approach that? Because it must be quite difficult when you've got that mental block of the players that you always lose to coming in front of you tournament after tournament. How do you kind of approach seeing the same people and trying not to think about what's come before?
I mean, the group across the world has developed so much since I started playing, and the strength and depth of the class, I'd say it's one of the strongest female standing classes now that there is. But we're all very close. We all know how to play each other. I think we all have nightmares about each other. But in a way, that encourages me to work hard every day and stick to a process. And I know what I'm going to come up against. And I think the best way to approach it is head on and just keep playing. And I think the access to me playing more females in this country has really, whether that be able-bodied, whatever, that's really developed me as a athlete because they're quickening me up speed, reaction, everything.
How do you find going into those tournaments where you are against able-bodied players? Do you have a different mentality that you go in with, or is it the same kind of thought process?
I probably should have a different mentality, but that's probably why I get so annoyed at myself, because I still want to win. I still want to do the best.
Of course,
but,
you do.
It's been fantastic for me I really enjoy playing the aeroway side of things, and it's really made me who I am today. And I can't say how much I would encourage people to just get involved in these not just for the playing, but like the people you meet and the social aspect of it. And
yeah, I mean you're now, talk about Women's British League, you're now playing for Brighton, traitor. But I mean that's probably one of my favourite tournaments in terms of community, and like the spirit, and like having all of those women around you, and like it's like people that you know through other things, but you don't get to play them all, and they're just all collected in one big hall, and everyone plays everyone, and everyone's like, it's competitive because everybody, like, it's a group of competitive women, but like there's also that really lovely atmosphere of off the table catching up and helping each other and giving little tips and things like that. So it's it's a lovely tournament to play in. I always like seeing people there. And now playing with Brighton as well, and Brighton's got like a brilliant reputation for bringing up para players. Obviously Will Bailey plays there, and Bly plays there. So I mean, how did that come about that you're playing for Brighton? Was it just that you
basically I'd been down quite a lot before Paris to prepare for Paris with Bly, because she'd been at school, and then I'd become quite friendly with the amazing Teresa Bennett. How can you not love Teresa?
Love Teresa.
And I played for Holton against Teresa, and I'd still say that's the best win I've ever had in in my career ever. Para, able-bodied, world champion. My best win ever has got to be Teresa. She's then had me in the Brighton Hall and absolutely battered me since.
But you have that win. No one can take it away from you.
No. And I spoke to her, and she was like, and I just love the atmosphere down at Brighton, and the community spirit, and everyone's together. And she said, will you come and play for us? And then once I said because I found at Holton I didn't know who I was playing with. If I'd played at your team, you were great, then no problem.
I know. We miss you. We miss you when we are. I mean, you used to. It's been a few years now actually since you played in our team, which is very sad, because it's been me, Grace, and Holly for a couple of years, and then it was me, Joe, and Janet. Because it's. That's the one thing about Women's British League which is difficult, I think, is that we are all sporadic. Like the teams for the locations, they very rarely live in the location. I mean me playing for Holton is weird anyway, because I've never lived in Holton. I've lived northwest obviously, but never lived in Holton. So you do get that like randomness sometimes with the teams, but you're playing with Brighton. You look like you got some good matches in and things like that.
It's good for me because I'm basically captaining the young girls, and the first weekend I turned up, I'd not seen them, any of them, to be honest, but they had the same attitude. They're so welcoming down at Brighton. And I mean, when I'm playing, I've got Bly running up behind my come on. I'll be playing a point, and then suddenly I'll just hear this, Flissy P, come on! And I go, oh, Bly's here again.
It's like it must be like so different having that environment, having those people around you. I mean, it's really nice to have that kind of encouragement, and they're all so enthusiastic in the stands at Brighton. Like, oh my god, I remember going in, everyone's so supportive, which is lovely. You don't get that atmosphere anywhere else, I don't think, which is amazing. So, kind of coming to the final questions now, and I wanted to, something that I always try and ask people on the podcast is, if you could do anything to help young women kind of coming through in our sport, anything that you would have liked as a young player, anything that you'd like to see kind of in hindsight, if money or resources was no object and you could do whatever you wanted, what kind of things would you like to see? What kind of changes would you like, or even what positive changes have you seen that you're like, that was
I'd like to see more like female coaches, more just people about the club, like, to encourage, like, girls don't particularly want to go into... I mean, I'm a bit weird, I'm a bit different. But the majority of girls, it'd be better with company and just having that familiar face around. I mean, I wish there was more days in a week. I wish I could go around to all the local clubs in the Northwest and just be there for the young girls coming through, and so they could see the different side of me, so they could see not this animal that's on the table showing in people's faces, but actually someone that wants to care and somebody who wants to help me. But I just don't have the time. But it'd be great to have people just in and around supporting. Like, Teresa's an amazing figure down at Brighton, and she really encourages the girls. But if there was more figures like that, like Sally Hughes has done a lot for women and girls, but I just don't feel like there's the incentive for girls to come in
and do that
and to want to play. Like,
it's like having those role models, I think, is so important.
Yeah.
Like, when I think about when I started and see, I mean, it was great because at Garstang there was you, and there was also Emily Bolton, there were the Dylans, you know, there was a bit of a group of us, and they were all, I mean, apart from Alice, who was younger, but I think everyone else was a little bit older than me, which was so nice, because it was like I could see them progressing ahead of me, and it was a pain to play all of years, but like, you know, I was never winning any of those, but it was like having those people, I think, really did have a positive impact, and you're right, it'd be nice to have a bit more of an incentive.
It's also a different style, completely different.
Yeah.
It's a completely different style of play as well.
Yeah.
So it'd be nice to have more numbers because I often play the boys all week, play para, and again that's totally different. They're able-bodied, and then I come to a 4-star with all these girls at the top of the game, running around, bang everything off the bat, and I'm like, whoa.
Yeah. The lads are coming back further. They're playing those, like, you know, further away from the table, and then all of a sudden you get to a women's competition, it's like, oh my god, like, it's so quick, especially with how quick you play as well. You know, you give them a fast ball and it's coming back just as quick, and you're like, oh my god, what do I do now? There's a real support for you, I think, back at Northwest. I really do, and I can't wait to see what you do next. I can't wait to watch you on the TV next time. No matter what it is, I'm just excited to see where you go. It shall be, well, who knows?
No, I don't think I'll be putting it back down anytime soon. I think they'll have to drag me away.
I'm glad to hear
I say this is difficult. This is, I can't do this anymore. But then the next day, I'll be playing for another 5 hours, and someone will have to drag me off the table. So,
And long may it continue.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for joining us. You've been fantastic.
No problem.
That's all our time.
No, it's been great.
This
Thanks.
week. So thank you for joining us, and we'll be back next week with another episode. So bye.
Thank you.
That's everything for this week, but before we go, we have to do our champion of the week. And our champion this week is from South Korea, and her name is Shin Yu-bin. Shin Yu-bin was actually considered a table tennis prodigy. She was the youngest person to join the national South Korean team at the age of only 14 years, 11 months and 16 days. It's a very specific number that they've got on her wiki there. Some of her greatest achievements include a bronze medal at the 2024 Paris Olympics in the mixed doubles. She also won a bronze at Paris in the team event for South Korea. This year in Doha at the World Championships, she got a bronze in the doubles, and she also got a bronze in the mixed doubles as well. So doubles definitely a strong suit for this lady. Some of her gold medal wins include the 2022 Asian Games and the 2021 Asian Championships. Shin Yu-bin is also a really great example of a player that's had to come back from adversity. During the 2021 World Table Tennis Championships in Houston, she sustained a wrist injury. She was forced to withdraw from the women's singles event because of the pain. And then medical examinations later revealed tendon damage in her wrists that required surgery. And if you're a table tennis player, I think you can imagine how painful and how anxiety-inducing it must have been to get wrist surgery with a very long rehabilitation period. She's missed several months of competition because of the injury, and she started to make her comeback back in 2022. And then considering that she then got her bronze medals in the Paris Olympic Games, that's just an absolutely incredible achievement. So I think, Fliss is a tenacious player, as I said at the beginning, and I think Shin Yu-bin is another example of someone who is tenacious, who's someone who gets back on the horse, doesn't let these things define them, and just keeps on going. So definitely keep an eye out for Shin Yu-bin's games. I think she's got just incredible materials. I think she's really one to watch. She's a dangerous player. I think some of those big wins haven't quite happened for her yet, but she's definitely on the cusp of something. I feel like she's one of these players that once she gets one big win, the rest are going to fall like dominoes. So definitely a player to keep an eye on. And that's it for this week. If you're enjoying this podcast, then please leave us a review on Spotify and Apple Podcasts. It really helps us to hear your thoughts and to keep this project going. We've only got one more episode to go. I have really loved doing this. This has been my pet project over the last couple of months, throughout work, throughout playing and all of that. And I think it's really given me a second wind in this sport. It's really reignited my passion for the sport, being able to talk to all of these amazing people, all these amazing players. And our final episode in the series is the incredible England #1 Tintin Ho. There was no better way to finish the series, actually. So Tintin's episode will be coming out on Monday next week, so please join us then. And that's it. See you next time. Bye.